Welcome to level 3 of Playmode on the fun formula. This one is all about turning routine into reward. Most people try to force their habits to stick through willpower, discipline, force, but we are not doing that here. We are building momentum by making it feel good to show up. Because when something is fun, your brain actually wants to come back to it. That is intentional dopamine, that is sustainability, and that is the secret formula. The video you're seeing is from this past Sunday. I was doing some meal prep, but I made it fun on purpose. I put on a cute outfit, I played music, I made it feel like a vibe. It wasn't about the food, it was about setting myself up to feel good later, not just checking off a task. That is what future proofing dopamine looks like. But before we get into this level, let me share one thing. When I was coming out of severe burnout, I thought I could just pick up where I left off, but my body was not on board. Even the things that used to feel really light and easy for me felt overwhelming. From working out, socializing, meal prepping, eating, all of it. So I had to rebuild that from the ground up. It felt worse than starting something new because I felt like I lost all of these skills that once felt completely normal for me. So I had to rebuild everything one micro step at a time. And what was surprising is that this worked better than any strict routine I have ever had. That is where the fun formula was born. From the realization that joy, novelty, music, movement, and just a vibe were the entry point back to momentum. Not a reward for getting it together, but the reason I started showing up for myself again. That is the shift that changed everything. It made me realize that how we feel while building habits matters just as much as the habit itself. Growth and building supportive habits should feel fun and rewarding, not like a chore. Awareness is always the first ingredient in transformation. That is why in Pattern Disruptor, we started by noticing our subconscious loops in real time because you cannot shift what you don't see. But awareness isn't just about catching self sabotage, it is also about noticing what feels good. And that's where most people go wrong. They only pay attention when something is broken, not when something is working. Playfulness and fun are mindfulness in action. You cannot be playful and have fun without being present. Think about the last time you were dancing, laughing with friends, or fully into a project. You weren't overthinking, you weren't thinking about the future, you weren't thinking about the past, you were in it, fully present without forcing yourself to be present. That is the power of play. It locks you into the moment. And that's exactly what makes it such a powerful rewiring tool. Play makes hard things feel lighter. It makes boring things feel meaningful. It makes your brain want to come back. In this level, you will learn how to inject dopamine into your habits using movement, music, novelty, and your environment so your routine stop feeling like a chore and start feeling like something you actually want to do, something you actually want to come back to. Play is a natural human instinct. It is biologically wired into us from birth, just like curiosity, connection, or movement. Every mammal plays. For humans, play is how we learn, how we adapt, and how we create. So when people say, I just need to be more disciplined, what they're often missing is this. They have stripped all of the joy out of the process. And joy is not optional. Joy is the entry point to consistency. You don't need to be serious to be committed, and you don't need to suffer to grow. You can rewire your reward system with joy on purpose. So, why does this matter? Most people are not inconsistent because they're lazy. They're inconsistent because they are bored and exhausted. Of course, you're going to be bored and exhausted, forcing habits from a place of guilt, perfectionism, and punishment. This is your reminder. You are allowed to enjoy the process. Consistency does not have to come from force. It can come from pleasure, it can come from safety, and it can come from self respect. The more your brain associates action with feeling good, the more it will want to keep showing up. Fun is the strategy. Play is not childish. It is how your nervous system regulates. It is what makes your brain learn faster. And it is how your habits stick without you having to force them. Joy is not a distraction for growth, it is the gateway to it. Energy is a resource you can manage, not something you have to hope for. Most people think that they need more motivation to show up consistently. but what they actually need is better energy management. When your energy is drained, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, everything feels harder, even the things that you actually want to do. Play, movement, novelty, music, sensory shifts are not just cute add ons. They are tools to regulate your nervous system and generate energy on purpose. Let's get into the science of dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that fuels motivation, focus, and action. It is often called the feel good chemical, but what it actually does is drive you toward rewards. Dopamine is not just a reward, it is the anticipation of reward. It is released when you anticipate something exciting or pleasurable, not just when you get it. That is why visualization, movement, and creating positive associations with habits can literally rewire your brain to want to take action. The more often your brain links a habit to a satisfying reward, the more automatic that behavior becomes. This is why dopamine is not just a feeling, it's a strategy. I've seen hundreds of posts of people almost linking dopamine to something bad, having negative associations, but dopamine is not the problem. The problem is that most people chase cheap dopamine, scrolling, snacking, over consuming content. This feels good for a second, but what it actually does is train your brain to seek instant gratification instead of long term satisfaction. You want dopamine that actually leads somewhere. So let's get into some of my favorite ways to use dopamine for pleasurable habit building. Number one is a dopamine stack. This is when you pair a task you have been resisting with something enjoyable. So, for example, stacking your workout to a hype playlist you love, or some fun pre workout drink, or stacking admin work with a matcha ritual, or combining your morning routine with sunlight and music. The brain will start linking the hard things with a reward, which is going to make it easier to repeat. This is the whole point of using dopamine for intentional habit building. Number two is to clean up your environment and make it vibey. And I don't mean deep cleaning your drawers as a way to avoid what you actually need to do. But one of the fastest ways to reset your brain is sensory shifts. Visual clutter is mental clutter. If you have a hard time starting a workout or work, check your environment. So many times there are a few tiny little things we can do in the moment to completely change our environment. Light a candle, play a vibey playlist, clean up, make the space be something you actually want to be a part of. One of my favorite ways to do this is dopamine decor, and it's not about having a Pinterest perfect space. It is about creating micro moments of joy, novelty, and sensory cues that help your nervous system feel safe and your brain feel excited to actually engage with your space. As a millennial, I was subjected to the millennial gray interior style for years, and in retrospect, living in that environment was not enjoyable. Make your environment a place you enjoy, a place you love looking at, a place you love being at. And lastly, gamify the experience. And I don't just mean make it fun or quote unquote set a timer. I mean actually see your resistance as a signal that you're at the edge of your next level. And the task in front of you is the portal to access it. That is how I gamify my experience, not by forcing it, but by reframing the moment as a challenge to unlock. And unlocking a new challenge always has perks. There is always something that you receive by overcoming that resistance. There's always something that you will receive by overcoming that resistance, whether it's an energetic upgrade, a self trust upgrade, a confidence upgrade. There is always something that you're going to gain by overcoming the challenge. When you treat your habits like you're leveling up, not just checking boxes, you shift your energy from, I have to do this, to, wait, who am I becoming on the other side of this? It is not about being perfect. It is about showing up like someone who's playing to win. Your rewire move for today is to pick one thing you have been resisting, a habit, a task, or a routine that feels heavy or boring. Number two, apply the fun formula. Inject dopamine, pair the action with something your brain already loves, whether it's music, movement, scent. Link the effort with reward. Then upgrade your environment. Set the vibe, lighting, sound, comfort, energy. Make the space a space your body wants to move in. Small tweaks change everything. And lastly, gamify the experience. Don't just check it off, make it a challenge. Reframe the moment as a quest to level up, not just something you have to get through. When you treat habits like a game, your brain stops dreading them and it starts looking for the next challenge, for the next opportunity to upgrade. That is all for level 3 of play mode on. If you want deeper support, share what you have tried and how it felt inside of our private Telegram lounge. This is where we celebrate micro wins, we troubleshoot resistance, and anchor these shifts through real time support. This is how you turn resistance into momentum, one fun, intentional move at a time. Next level is coming out Thursday.